Good evening. Hoping that, as always, I hope that you all are doing well this Saturday evening and that you're enjoying the weekend. As a whole, today, my family and I had a really good day. We went out and we got the sushi that Maddie's been craving, which I happen to like too, so it's not like this total sacrifice, at Sushi this afternoon. And then we did a little bit of running around. So we took the kids to the minifig store in Kirkwood. It was really cute because Noah had been hinting around for it or whatnot. And I was really proud of him because he doesn't like sushi or Chinese, Japanese, any of that. Generally, he just sticks to like chicken nuggets and fries. And generally, I have to carry barbecue sauce in my purse for him because he doesn't like teriyaki and all these Asian flavors. And we got there and he's like, we were looking at the menu and his daddy pointed out this dish that had predominantly like really cool shreds of like beef mixed with all these other things that he would eat, including some things he had never tried, like bamboo was in it, like cooked bamboo. It's sweet, believe it or not. So he did. He's like, okay, cool, I'll do it. And he actually tore it up. I mean, he did real good. And so we praised him for being brave enough to try something new. And he's like, oh, I should totally be rewarded or whatever. You should take me to the minifig store. So Tim and I chuckled because he was quite the opportunist today, which we did point out. But then it totally got cuter in the car because we were assessing with the kids, okay, like, what would you like to do today? And even though Maddie could care less about Legos, she's like, hey, why don't we go by the minifig store? That's a cool place. And she's like, I'd like to look around and see what they have, even though again, she's never cared what they have. So it was like a sacrifice she made to make her brother happy. So I thought that was pretty cool. Even though they bicker, they love each other a lot. And so we went there and it was like crazy busy. Oh my gosh. Noah got a few things. They both do chores, so they earn an allowance. So, it comes out of the money that they earn. So it's all good. Then we left there and then I briefly stopped by Pathways to get this Oracle deck by Sabrina Fay, or not Sabrina Fay. I'm sorry. I messed her name up. Cassandra Fay. I actually have some of her artwork that I bought some time ago. She's a really cool artist and painter, but it's this Oracle deck that they advertised a long time ago, and it doesn't come with a booklet or a box. It's just the cards and they're wrapped in like clear wrap. And I thought on it and I was like, I'm really drawn to it. I should totally get it, especially being that I'm a fan of her work and I don't regret it. The cards are beautiful and she puts on them what each one of them means. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll incorporate them into our Oracle cards for our group. And then you guys can see her work. Again, just beautiful work on her part. So I would recommend you guys to check her work out if you're in the St. Louis area. Those are kept at Pathways, but secured in like a glass cabinet with her other stuff that she usually has there. It's worth getting. It's a really awesome deck. And then so after Pathways, then we went by the pet store, Office Max, went by Walmart. Tim ended up smoking some pork steaks, which we hadn't had in a while. We just got away from eating them. And the kids ate burgers, and so here we are. And the only other little bleep on the radar with our family today is, so I love sugar skulls. Okay, and year round I keep this really colorful wreath on my door with like sugar skulls with the really pretty flowers. Because to me, it's like we honor our ancestors every day, knowing that we're connected, our roots, and carrying them on in our thoughts and our hearts. So to me, ancestor work is important. So to me, that's what it symbolizes other than looking really pretty and colorful. But anyhow, more to the point. So Toulouse, my big Maine Coon, he kept jumping at the door, and Tim's like, I think he sees something. What is he looking at? We've got this little brown sparrow that has nestled itself inside that little wreath to stay warm. And so Tim, after Toulouse like threw his big body weight against the door from the inside of the house, because all of our cats are indoor, he's like, I wonder if that bird is hurt. And he went around the back of the house to the front, and it flew off. But then the moment Tim came back inside, it flew right back in there. So yeah, that little guy, bless his heart, he's this little round brown ball of a bird just staying warm out there. My heart goes out to all the little animals doing the best they can in this cold. You know, it's just been so cold here lately. Feel free to tell me in the comments how you guys are doing, because you know, always I'm curious, and I'm always hoping that these go lives and posts find you well. So tonight is an exciting night. It is quite the milestone that we're making as a group for the people who have an interest in learning tarot and have been watching the go lives. And I'm hoping that you guys have had your first tarot deck, if you didn't already have them, and that you've been pretty consistently playing with your decks, because that's how you're going to learn them. It's just from consistent use. So we are about to wrap up the major arcana. So yes, this is a big deal. So what I'm doing is, I generally don't do extra stuff on my days where I do our group readings in the evening, but because that's a big part of the fun with tarot, is doing a tarot spread. I did research different types of spreads that you can do only with major arcana, and then I devised my own. And so, yes, that's why I entitled it The Crow's Journey. And yes, so that's why I have scheduled a Zoom for 11 a.m. tomorrow. At max, the most I can be on there is an hour, because my family, we're going to go to see the Star Wars Orchestra tomorrow. So that means we've got to have our lunch squared away prior to taking the kids. And basically over the movie, they play the music score that goes along with the movie. And well, it plays behind the orchestra, and our family, we've never been. So Tim secured us some seats to go to that, and I'm excited. As a Star Wars fan, of course, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing it. So at most I can be on from like 11 to noon. Now say, if however many people show up, it would be a matter of, if they want to read for themselves and they get stuck, we can help our colleague, our group member, interpret the reading. Or if they want to practice how it feels like reading for somebody else, then they would certainly have the opportunity to do it within the Zoom. Because it's a spread that I made this morning, I was very inspired after doing my own Celtic spread and having coffee. I was brainstorming about things I wanted to accomplish in general. And I was thinking, gosh, I need to research a spread only utilizing the major arcana. And that's when I was inspired to come up with that spread after, I'm big on research, after researching various spreads. So I'm really excited to try it out and see how it resounds with people, because I had a lot of fun making it. So here is our card. You guys know I'm all about the chit chat. So that's my chit chat for the day. So here it is. And it is the World. Okay, so just kind of take in, there's a lot of little things going on here as far as symbols go. So this is the 21st card of the major arcana, which, that's the Roman numeral for it. And in our skies, because I'm always telling you guys to pay attention to details, how they're facing you, if they're looking away, the body position, what are they doing in the picture? Details are everything. So here we have a lady, okay, and she's got like this leg behind her. This one's slightly bit at an angle, and it's facing forward. And it's almost like she's she's very often, even with my research that I've done, they were talking about this card, she's dancing. It's a celebration. And so we've got her holding 2 wands. And Rachel Pollack, and you'll hear me reference her quite a bit. She's a really intelligent lady, especially when it comes to tarot, and oftentimes referred to as the mother of tarot. So if you break down 21, so into their individual parts. So 1, if you think back, 1 was our magician card. Okay. So, the magician had in his picture each of the different suits, right? And he taught our seeker what he needed to know about each, correct? The tools of the trade, essentially. So that would stand for 1 of those. Okay, then you'd go into number 2 for the major arcana. That's your high priestess, which that's all about intuition and listening to your gut. And so with that, the narrative I read described the 2 wands like the 2 pillars of the high priestess, because from 21, break those numbers down, you've got a 2 and a 1. So Rachel referred to it, it's like the magician and high priestess got together, and this is what happened. For me, I also see with that, the wands, you think about that creativity, excitement, drive, motivation. You're in your element doing your thing. So to me, the way that she's holding 2 of them outright, it does show a balance. And that would be as she's dancing around and being happy, could also be similar to like when people say if they go on vacation and like people in Hawaii, they dance around and play around with flames and so forth. It's like it's a performance. She's celebrating, dancing, And then she's got this ribbon like loosely draped around her. I would maybe say it's like loosely, like some sort of like, I wouldn't even say it's a garment. It's like a sheet. She is very much really not clothed, to where she has nothing to hide. She embraces, and when I say she, it could be a he or a she. Again, tarot's neutral, has embraced her body and her accomplishments at this point. And honestly, this card is all about completion. And it's the sum of efforts toward manifesting. So when people are at the end of their journey, in regard to various, say, relationships, work, finances, whatever it may be they've been working on, this is like the card. It shows that they have reached their potential. They have addressed this issue. It's kind of like a light clicks on, like, wow, and so used to this card, when I was reading Rachel's book today, she was talking about how the old school card actually pictured Jesus Christ. He was in the middle, and there was a word for it. So basically, there were 2 circles that were drawn, and they were interconnected. So one stood for heaven and the other earth. The almond that was formed by the 2 circles, that was actually referenced as the womb of Mary. So again, very heavy Christian themes with tarot. So this wreath essentially shows completion. We have come full circle on this journey. And here's the thing, guys. All this means is that we're done with this issue that we've invested quite a bit of time and effort in, working on ourselves and the way that we addressed the relationship or issue. And now we're about to start on a totally different journey as the Fool. So that's why interwoven with this wreath, you see how it would be like the infinity symbol? This comes up quite a bit with tarot because it just means that we will always keep piggybacking and as far as eternity goes, be on this journey. Meaning that we don't have our whole life figured out when we get this card, but it does show celebration and victory and accomplishment and completion toward whatever issue at that point in time in our lives that we're working on. And, you know, we basically, it's also very symbolic of the 4 seasons. So, you know, if you remember the wheel, which is also known as the Wheel of Fortune, okay, which is the 10th card, those are all about the seasons in our life where we're going through changes, just like Mother Nature goes through changes throughout the year. We go through changes too. We have various seasons. That's what this is very symbolic of too. Again, it's like, if you want to look at it one way, it'd be like the conclusion of a year for this matter. Like, it's a good card to get. It's a very joyful card. So we have Aquarius, and then this eagle here stands for Scorpio. And then we have our bull, which is Taurus, and then we have Leo here. So if you remember back, those are what they consider like the 4 like principal zodiac signs, which, you know, we had those as well before with our Wheel of Fortune card. So, you know, where we made that decision, it shows the turning point, the Fool's Journey. And here we are at the end of the journey. And again, just think about it in quarters. So it's the seasons of life, right? And let's see here. And yeah, there's some like little clouds. And you know how generally in the past we've associated that with obscurity and maybe not having the full picture on things. But instead, this does show the impact from a fatalistic viewpoint that life has on us. So even though we'll plan and, you know, we'll do all these various things to address things, life happens. So it also shows the favor of the divine, of source, of your spirit guides, whatever your faith may be. It shows the encouragement and support with that too. So it's alignment of both, say, the heavenly and the earthly realms. So yeah, it's really cool. I'm going to see if I forgot to mention anything here. Let's see. So it mentions some other keywords would be success, wholeness, freedom. I do see, by the way, that I've got 2 people on here, but the only one that I see would be my husband, Tim. So I'm not sure who the other person is. So feel free to say hi to me. I don't want you to think I'm not saying hello. Facebook can be weird with these go lives. Let's see here. So that wreath the wreath that I mentioned earlier with the circles that intertwine, it's called a mandorla. So that's what that meant when you join the 2 circles. So we have completion, conclusion. I really like this sentence, which was a descriptor. It is the sum of manifested things. Things do not manifest in our lives without putting forth the intention. So it's not just our prayers that we have toward, say, our Creator, where we ask for things. We are expected to do the legwork to make these things manifest and come along, you know. And then another interesting thing that I found out with this card is many years ago. So from a Greek perspective, they actually drew this figure out to be a hermaphrodite, which we've always heard that term for people who are both male and female. The interesting thing, and I never caught on to it, is look at the components of that word. So the Herme is in reference to Hermes. Now, if I'm not saying it right, let me know, but that's how I say his name. Hermes, which is it's like a Greek god. And then we have Aphrodite. And so that's why we have hermaphrodite. So those are two Greek, like a god and a goddess, that combined to form that word. So back in the day, it very much represented the dualism. They wanted the male and female represented. They initially ended up settling on the female. But again, with tarot, it's all about that energy, you know. So hi, Mom. I see that you're on here. You have to let me know how you and Belle are doing today. So now we're going to go into some other cards. So with this one, we have the World. And so you'll see here, this snake that's eating its own tail, that is called an Ouroboros, which means infinity, eternal. So yes, we are celebrating a victory by the Fool finally reaching the end of the journey with the World card. However, it doesn't mean that, okay, we're all done, that there's not going to be other obstacles. We're just done with this one thing that we've been working on and working towards, if that makes sense. And so with this card, you know, it also looks like a figure 8. And so when I think of 8s, I think about leaving behind, you know, what didn't pan out. We no longer need to worry about this issue. We've worried ourselves to death and worked toward the conclusion. So it shows the birth, which it's really a whole lot, like I was telling you guys about the research about the two circles that intertwine with the almond shape in the middle, symbolizing Mary's womb, which was symbolic of Jesus Christ. So it was showing that the rebirth, and our seeker has totally went through many rebirths during this fool's journey that we've been on. And then there's this eye here, and when you look at the eye, you're thinking of vision. Is enlightenment, seeing things a different way. And so the Fool definitely went from that 0, from having full potential, and then made it all the way, despite all the hardships and at times a hellish part of the journey between the devil and the tower. And I mean, gosh, think about it, you know. Justice was a hard one, taking accountability for decisions that may not have been the best for himself or others. And he's made it. He didn't turn back, and he made it to the end of his journey. And so in this card, we do have some black and gray shading, but we also have a lot of illumination in the periphery, meaning that at times, despite how dark and bleary and just the overall unknown of things, there is a light to be had there. So I thought that the artist did a really good job with this card. I really like the Ouroboros. It's a mouthful. They're just cool looking, you know. And again, when you think of snakes, you always think about shedding the skin and change. And it's so symbolic. So we are shedding this issue. It's done. It's a done deal. It's been addressed. With this card, this shows a circle, and it's got a lady that's clothed, and she's smiling, and it looks like she is dancing around. She doesn't have the wands in either hand, but it does show just the color usage of the blue. So very calm, also meaning truth has been found. Shades of yellow, standing for enlightenment, joy, warmth, finding your way. The circle is complete. And then as far as the other random little shapes behind her, honestly, I don't know what those mean. To me, it reminds me of geometry, and I used to hate geometry in high school. That was the one class that I did not enjoy. But I'm sure that they probably do have some sort of meaning, but, you know, I couldn't tell you what on that card all of those meant. And that's okay. That's the thing with tarot. You know, it's just getting the basic, if you know the basic core meaning of, say, the World, now even if it's a deck that's not based on Rider-Waite-Smith, given that you know, like you have an idea of the base meaning, you can really derive a lot based on just what you're seeing. And let's see here. And then we've got this one, which shows the crow. And with this crow, there's a little crown above his head there, showing victory, authority, okay, power over his own life. We have that wreath, and we have the infinity symbols yet again, meaning that we're on this cycle with the major arcana, you know. And then we see some of our like symbols as far as like the zodiac in the corners. And then look at the use of color. So we've got the blue and yellow. And let's see what else we have here. Looks like the artist may have used a little bit of maybe like a mustard, yellow, brown. But yeah, it just kind of goes to show it's the journey, this journey that we've been on, wrapping up, you know. And so it makes room for another fool's journey. We're about to restart, you know. And the thing is with the way life works, just because one issue's been addressed doesn't mean that every other component of our lives is in sync and order. So even though when, say, you draw this card for yourself or others when you read for them, it really opens up that can of worms, theoretically speaking, of assessing, well, gosh, I'm seeing something that you've invested quite a lot of time and effort in order to improve it in your life. And you look at the cards around it to kind of delve out, is it a pentacle, wand, cup, or sword? What do you have around this card? And you get the big picture of what that could have been. And most of the time you can be spot on when you talk to people just based on the cards that are around this. You just know it's a conclusion that they've been working hard on this. But also it shows there's other things in life, other relationships, or projects or what have you, that the seeker is at a totally different part of the journey on there, if that makes sense. So again, life is not nice and tidy, but it does show some accomplishment. And then the last card would be this one. And it shows the lady, and we don't see her full body like we do in the other ones. She kind of reminds me of Princess Leia from Star Wars, you know, with Carrie Fisher. And she's got the little bird. It's just resting on her hand. And, I mean, she's having a good hair day. Her hair looks good. And then, like around here, we've got that green growth. It's strong, built upon a stone structure. And to me, when I look at this card, it's like she's resting. So our full, male or female, doesn't matter. They're at a point where, yes, this is a time of celebration, completion, accomplishment. But in this card, the energy is, okay, I've worked hard, I've addressed this issue or whatnot, and now I'm just going to be happy in it. And maybe give, like, yourself credit, you know, about how far you progressed on your journey, or the person you're reading for. This is a really good one to get. And then in the background, it's like shades of like gray and white. The brown, there's a lot of brown on the ground at the base of the card. So, I don't know. I think it was just, again, the artist's use of color. My eyes are more so drawn to the green that's around this stone structure, you know. But again, so yeah, artistic liberties with these cards. So that wraps us up for this. We did it. And so I will hop on tomorrow morning at 11, and we'll see who wants to practice as far as doing readings. And we'll only use the major arcana because that's all that we've covered so far. And, you know, we can use the spread I came up with this morning, or feel free if you wanted to do like a 1 card or even a 3 card with past, present, future, for example. We can do that just so you get used to reading for other people and to gain insight from other people, including myself in the group. so that there's growth to be had. And it's fun because that's all part of reading tarots, doing the spreads, you know. And then, of course, so I'll do that at 11 as scheduled, like we talked about. And then I'll hop on at 8 p.m. to do our weekly readings. And I think that sums us up for tonight. So I hope that you all have a great evening and a great rest of your weekend, no matter where this finds you. And I'll talk to you later. Good night.